Hello children, how are you doing? I'm sure you're doing very well. Children, when you do any work, do you like to take help? Of course we can. जब हम कोई मुश्किल काम करते हैं तो कुछ हेल्प भी लेते हैं. और क्या आपको लगता है कि क्या छोटे छोटे एनिमल्स भी हमारी मदद कर सकते हैं? क्या उनमें एक क्षमता है? Let's find out. Let's read the story. Little creatures are also helpful. Once upon a time, a kind and generous king ruled over a kingdom. Even the gods and goddesses were all praised of his kindness. One day, a goddess gave him a beautiful and precious gem as a special gift. Here, the meaning of precious is बहुत ही कीमती. Precious. The king was delighted with his gift. He wanted to put it around his neck in a gold thread. So he sent for the royal jeweler and ordered him to have a gold thread passed through the small holes on opposite sides of the gem. The jeweler was pleased at being given such an easy task. He pushed the thread through one of the holes. The thread went inside the gem and got stuck. वो उसमें जाकर फंस गया. Stuck. The jeweler tried his best to pull the thread from the opposite side but could not succeed. वो ये नहीं निकाल पाया, उसमें सफल नहीं हो पाया. Succeed. So he gave it to his assistant. The assistant too failed and he passed it on to someone else. Many people tried to pass the thread through the gem but in vain. Children, hear the phrase but in vain means उनसे कुछ भी नहीं हो पाया, वो सफल नहीं हो पाए. The jeweler came back to the king and told him about the problem. The king was very much disappointed and he was unable to use the gem. So he sent for a famous wise man known for his wit seeking a solution. I don't understand why no one could do it, the king wondered. The two holes are exactly opposite to each other. There must be a straight passage from one end to the other. But every time when the thread is pushed into the gem, it gets stuck and does not come out from the other side. राजा को ये समझ ही नहीं आ रहा था. दोनों होल्स एकदम आमने सामने हैं, फिर भी वही प्रॉब्लम. The wise man looked at the gem carefully. There is a reason why the thread gets stuck, he said after a while. It is because the passage between the two holes twists and turns inside the gem. It is not as straight as you think. Is it so? Said the king. If you can find me someone who can do the job, I will reward him. The wise man smiled. Your Majesty, he said, you have failed to find a man who can do this job because you think that only a human being can do it. There are other creatures that can easily do it for you. Then find them and let them do it. I will reward them as well, said the king. The wise man laughed. Money does not matter to them. Saying so, the wise man left the room. Soon he returned with a jar of honey. वो एक शहद की बोतल ले आया. He began his job while the king watched him curiously. The wise man spread some honey over both the holes of the gem. Then he spread some more honey on one end of the thread and pushed it into one of the holes. Finally, he placed the gem on the table of the room where there were many ants. तो वहाँ थी छोटी छोटी चींटियाँ. Then both the king and the wise man saw the ants working. यहाँ ये चींटियाँ काम करने लगी अपना. Tempted by the honey, the ants began to crawl all over the gem. Tempted by the honey here means चींटियों को हनी का, शहद का लालच होने लगा. Tempted. They discovered the hole on the opposite side of the gem and crawled into it. As they moved more into the tiny passage inside the gem, they reached the place where the gold thread got stuck. They pulled the thread along till it came out at the other end. The king was overjoyed. King बहुत ही खुश हो गया. At last he could pull the gem around his neck. I sincerely thank you, he said to the wise man. The wise man replied, you should thank those little ants. They are the ones who did the job. Always remember, it is not only human beings who have the ability to do everything. All living creatures, however big or small, also have capabilities of working. It is the intelligence of the man to get the job done through such creatures. So children, this tale was taken from Jataka Tales, and you learnt about the importance, the power of every creature. I am sure आपको ये कहानी बहुत पसंद आई होगी और आप इसे दोबारा पढ़ेंगे. Do attempt the practice questions.